Welcome back to the Tonight Show.
Oh my God.
Thank you so much.
He didn't just tell jokes. He told the kind of truths that made the powerful uncomfortable. From the son of Indian immigrants in small-town California to the man who stood on a global stage and used laughter as a weapon, Hassan Minhaj didn't come to Hollywood to entertain. He came to confront, with charisma, rage, and vulnerability all colliding in a single monologue. His comedy specials didn't just earn applause, they sparked conversations in Congress, classrooms, and dinner tables across America. But behind every punchline was something heavier, the pain of belonging to two worlds that never fully accepted him. He became a voice for the unheard, a symbol for millions who felt invisible. And then, just when the world crowned him the future of truth-telling comedy, that truth turned on him. Accusations, controversy, the question no one expected to ask. If a story moves you, does it matter if it's real? This is not just the story of a comedian. It's the story of a man who built an empire out of honesty and nearly lost it to the very truth he tried to defend. Hassan Minhaj was born in Davis, California in 1985. A quiet college town surrounded by golden fields and conservative expectations. His parents had crossed oceans from Aligarh, India, chasing the dream they were told America could offer. But for young Hassan, that dream felt distant, while his father, a chemist, worked long hours to build stability. His mother returned to India to finish medical school, leaving Hassan in the care of his father for years. It was a childhood split in two, one filled with love and discipline, and another haunted by absence and confusion. At school, he was the other, the brown kid with the strange name, the accent at home, the lunches that smelled different. He learned early how laughter could protect him, how a quick joke could turn cruelty into awkward silence. That's where his power began. Television became his second classroom. The Simpsons, Dave Chappelle, Jon Stewart, voices that shaped his idea of freedom. He realized that comedy could be more than entertainment. It could be armor, truth, and rebellion. But beneath the jokes, there was a quiet ache, a need to belong and to be seen. In every laugh he chased, a question lingered. Can I ever be American enough, without losing who I am? It was that question, that conflict, that would later define his art, his rise, and ultimately, his fall. When Hassan stepped onto a comedy stage for the first time, it wasn't in front of red carpets or studio lights. It was in a cramped basement club in San Francisco. The microphone buzzed. The audience barely looked up from their drinks. But somewhere in that haze of indifference, a voice began to emerge, sharp, restless, and unafraid. He bombed, again and again. Each failed punchline was another lesson in honesty. He wasn't funny because he was brown. He was funny because he was real. By day, he studied political science. By night, he studied human nature, one laugh at a time. He took his pain, his confusion, and the small humiliations of everyday racism, and turned them into weapons of wit. Then came The Daily Show. Jon Stewart saw something in him. Not just humor, but heat. A courage that could slice through the polite silence surrounding race and politics in America. Hassan joined the team in 2014, and suddenly, that lonely kid from Davis had a national stage. His segments weren't just funny. They were personal manifestos wrapped in satire. He didn't mock for laughs. He questioned for change. Each appearance pulled him closer to the spotlight, until his name wasn't just another credit in the writer's room. It was the headline. And as the laughter grew louder, so did the responsibility. Because when you make the truth your brand, you can't afford to lie, not even once. By 2017, Hassan Minhaj was no longer just a correspondent. He was a phenomenon. His Netflix special Homecoming King hit like a cultural lightning strike. It wasn't just comedy. It was confession, storytelling, activism, all wrapped in the rhythm of heartbreak and hope. Standing on a bare stage, under one spotlight, he told the story of love, racism, and rejection. Not as a victim, but as a witness. The show earned him a Peabody Award, global recognition, and a reputation as one of the most fearless voices in modern comedy. Soon came Patriot Act with Hassan Minhaj. It wasn't just a show, it was a revolution on screen. A fusion of journalism and stand-up, visuals and outrage. Each episode dissected power. Student loans, censorship, corruption, foreign policy. With the precision of a reporter and the heart of a storyteller. Audiences around the world tuned in. He was no longer just the Indian-American comedian. He was the face of truth in an era drowning in misinformation. Time magazine named him one of the 100 most influential people. He hosted the White House Correspondents' Dinner, sparing no politician from his fire. For a moment, Hassan Minhaj stood where few comedians ever do, at the peak of both influence and integrity. The boy who once hid behind jokes had become a man who used them to confront presidents. But fame, like truth, is fragile. And when your entire identity is built on honesty, even the smallest crack can shatter everything. Because the higher you climb on the truth, the harder it breaks when someone asks if it was all real. In 2023, the laughter stopped. The same stage that had once made Hassan Minhaj a symbol of fearless truth suddenly turned into a courtroom. A New Yorker investigation accused him of fabricating key moments in his stand-up stories. The racism he endured, the heartbreaks he confessed, the dangers he claimed to face. They weren't saying he wasn't talented. They were asking something more painful. Was he ever honest? For a man who built his career on personal truth, the accusation cut deeper than any review ever could. Headlines erupted. Fans felt betrayed. Fellow comedians debated. Where is the line between storytelling and lying? Hassan defended himself, calling his stories emotional truths, not journalistic facts. To him, comedy had always been metaphor, not memoir. But in an age obsessed with authenticity, nuance died fast. The internet turned on him. Clips were reanalyzed, quotes dissected. Every laugh he'd earned suddenly carried suspicion. He had spent years holding power accountable, and now that same spotlight turned mercilessly back on him. Netflix went silent. Patriot Act was gone, and for the first time in a decade, Hassan Minhaj wasn't behind a mic. He was behind a wall of doubt. The tragedy wasn't just about reputation. It was about identity. How do you rebuild when your art, your voice, and your truth all collapse together? Fame had given him a platform. Scandal took it away. And somewhere between fact and fiction, the man who once defined honesty was forced to question what it ever really meant. When the noise finally faded, Hassan Minhaj disappeared. No more stages, no studio lights, no crowd waiting for a punchline, just silence. And the man who once made the world laugh, now forced to listen to himself. For months, he said little. No fiery monologues, no public defense, just time. The one thing fame rarely allows. He focused on his family, on fatherhood, and on the fragile balance between ambition and peace. It was in that quiet that he began to understand something deeper. He had spent his whole career trying to speak for people, but maybe it was time to start speaking to them. When he returned to small stages, there were no flashy sets or political graphics, just a stool, a mic, and honesty. Not the curated kind, but the uncomfortable kind. He joked about the scandal, the irony, the fall. He made pain his material again, this time with humility instead of defiance. His laughter was softer now, his anger more measured, but his voice, still unmistakably his. Redemption didn't come from clearing his name. It came from reclaiming his purpose, to make people feel even when it hurt. Because truth, he realized, isn't about perfection. It's about showing up scarred but still standing, and daring to speak, even when the world doubts your voice. Today, Hassan Minhaj stands in a space few artists ever reach, somewhere between hero and human, between truth and the story that tells it. He may never reclaim the spotless image he once had, but perhaps that was never the point. His journey forced audiences to question what they really want from their idols, authenticity or perfection. Because if we demand flawless honesty from artists, maybe we forget the very reason art exists. To show us that life rarely is. Hassan's impact lives beyond the scandal. He opened the door for a new generation of South Asian creators, proving that their stories, messy, complicated, real, deserve the spotlight too. He turned laughter into language and pain into power. In the end, the story of Hassan Minhaj isn't about controversy. It's about courage. The courage to speak, fall, and rise again. Because the truth, even when fractured, still matters. And his voice, even when questioned, still echoes louder than silence. Hassan Minhaj's journey reminds us that the punchline may fade, but the message, the fight, and the fire remain. If stories like this move you, subscribe for more untold journeys behind Hollywood's brightest stars.